Have you ever moved somewhere new, chasing adventure, and found yourself completely alone? That happened to me as a teenager, and sometimes, quite honestly, it's still happening now. Today I'm headed to Denmark, which might not seem like a big deal, but when I was 17 years old, I actually lived there for a year. I've been reflecting a lot as I settle into life in Switzerland, and I figured what better way to share some of those reflections as well as some of the lessons I've learned than perhaps take you to one of the first places travel abroad really started for me. So let's finish packing up so that I don't miss my train, and let's head to the airport. Back when I was 17, I convinced my parents and myself that moving across the world and living there for a year was a very good idea. I lived with friends of my dad, went to school, and learned Danish. It gave me amazing memories, but it also showed me just how hard living abroad can be. Especially when you're trying to do so many things in a language you don't speak, and you're really far from community friends and tend to feel a little bit isolated and on your own. Recently, I moved to Switzerland for my relationship. I've only been here for the last couple months and find it absolutely beautiful, but also really lonely sometimes, just like Denmark was in the beginning too. Travel days always get me thinking. Back then, I just left home, no plan B, just curiosity and intense determination. Now I tend to research everything, and while I miss that fearless version of me, I've found that there are small little hacks that you can incorporate that make the culture shock that's inevitable to go through just a little bit easier. Lesson that I really apply as I build a life in Switzerland that I did learn from my time in Denmark as well is to say yes to things, especially early days. Saying yes and just going for it, a walk with someone, a coffee, being open to things that maybe back home you wouldn't necessarily be open to is key. Maybe it's not going to be your best friend that you go for this coffee with on the first time, but it's going to be confidence building, and it's going to allow you to continue to get momentum saying yes to new experiences, which will help your brain understand that there is benefit from putting yourself out there. Living abroad isn't just about being brave. It's about building a life even when you feel super out of place. The feelings that come up through the phases of culture shock can be really disorienting. Some days feel incredible because you feel so proud of what you accomplished. Other days feel really lonely and quite sad because you only see challenges ahead of you. Just know that this is completely normal, and if you find yourself feeling those feelings, you're right on track. Landing here feels surreal. So much has changed, and even though 15 years have passed since I lived in Denmark, this place still feels a bit like home. Oh, it's crazy being back here, guys. Denmark brings back so many memories for me. The other thing that was critical for my time when I lived in Denmark, and I know is crucial for building a life in Switzerland as well, is learning the language. When I was living here at 17, I actually did become relatively conversationally fluent in Danish, and that unlocked so much in terms of community, feeling more social, feeling more connected to the culture, etc. So if you are in a new place, as tricky as learning a new language can be and as isolating as it can feel in the early days, that is huge for unlocking what's to come. Language isn't just practical, it really turns strangers into friends and helps new environments feel more comfortable and more like your own. Coming back to Denmark reminds me that every version of me, the teen, the planner, the wanderer, is still in there. Maybe that's what living abroad really is, meeting yourself again and again in new places, new languages, with new people. All the growth that happens along the way sticks with you. It all shapes you and makes you into the person that you are today. Moving away from home can be an intense experience, but it can also be an extremely efficient way to grow. If you've ever lived abroad or dreamed of it, I'd love to hear what it's taught you. I'm going to be featuring more present day, so stay tuned for more. Subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a comment below, and keep in mind, you're absolutely not alone.